Global window de sob ke sokat kure se viewers kan ke alak alak charcha opor de amikan dikhai kina ase government ge amikan sawal uthai ase aru itu laga jawab paboli koshish kore ase public kan kuti duk pai ase amikan itu sob laga charcha opor de dikhai na ase itia dangor ekta charcha chuli thaka do FMR free movement regime jundu 2018 Narendra Modi government bra implement kuri kina aise aru itu Myanmar aru India laga majote free movement border de pera boli laga aru north east to saishe gule 1643 kilometers itu border cover kuri na ase Manipur state saishe gule 398 kilometers itia tak fencing to 10 kilometer mori opor de ponai kina ase Nagaland state to saile 215 kilometer Mizoram to saishe gule 510 kilometers Arunachal Pradesh to saishe gule 520 kilometers Amit Shah, Union Home Minister, January 20 de FMR do scrap kuri dibole laga charcha ulai kina. Itia dangor charcha ekta ulai ase ki naka ho prabi itu laga opor de oppose kuri ase. NSF prabi oppose kuri ase aro alak alak civil societies kan bra itu fencing do nalaka boli laga oppose kuri ase. Aro itu noi kina NSCN GPRN K President retired General Nikki Sumi brabi kushi ki itu FMR do thik nai itu laga opor de jun do charcha ase itu fencing na lagabo lage aro public concept milai gina itu laga opor de awas uthabo lage kona kushi aji ami khan yede itu laga charcha opor de aro alak alak political charcha opor de ami khan logote respected manu duijon ase ami khan logot Colonel retired Isak Sumi Auto Kelonser NSCN GPRN and co-convener NNBGs aro Sir Alezo Venuh, envoy to collective leadership GPRN, aro coordinator NNBG Samikan Logot ase, IB Amikan Takan Logot Olop Kota Kuribu. Sir, global window ge, Abuni Dijun Laga Kimti time dia garne, Bishi Kushi Pais.
Thank you.
Sir, itia FMR Laga Kota Opode Charcha Damor Lais. Aro itia Koyase ki center bra, itu scrap Kuridibo, aro 1643 kilometer do fencing Kuribo. To Yade, sir. Apuni dujon brabi itu laga opor de ki bhabana ase olop koi dibo sir
Itu FMR to American ekta bujole thaga to it is not only confined to Nagaland khali Nagaland state te noy gena Arunachal Mizoram Manipur neighboring state inega Burma laga neighboring state kan thakise other state kan laga situation to alag hoi thakibo hole bi Nagaland laga context te to American naga public Burma te thaka India te thaka itu kan ke mon shanti kuri diwan mide American itu kobale mon thakise naga manukun itu American working committee NNPG pra government of India lokote agreement kori kena thaki ase tate American clearly likhi kena thakise itia 16 kilometer on either side itu purapi aro American to 35 miles extend koro lage koi kena American itu clearly likhi kena thakise itu pura American kite itu agreement to implement hoi jabo itu laga issue to iku raise korole bi thaka nai itu pura naga manu ke itu message convey kura ase American tate iku mon chinta korole thaka nai aro ite thaka pura pi aro American FMR to extend koro lage koi kena 35 kilometer American inika agreed kuru kena se government of India lokote itu pura American tate apprehension fear kura itu kan public outcry itu kan tu American laga working committee NNPG laga agreement najana khan prahi hala kori thakibo pare nohole jun American Indian government loko in written in principle sob discuss kori gena agreed kori gena thakise tate pura cover kori gena ase itu pura mon chinta korle thakana koi gena itu American koi de ase
holibe sir itia alak alak NGO civil societies pura bi awas uthai ase holibe sir American retired general Nikki Sumi ke itu laga opor de hotauti kuram de taiba to kushi ke to fence FMR itu jindo 2018 de implement hoise eniga thakibo lage government of India ra jindo fencing lakabole la koise na lakaile phal aro parishi gule lakai shigule takan sir itu phangabi phangai dibo koise so opinion do differ kore ase aro whereas iti apuni kwado sir agreement government of India logo thado 35 km stretch jabo koise olibi moganta di olop no buja do public kan so apuni 35 kilometers laga extend dak jabo paribo kwado sir on what extent itu olop arbi detail olop explain koribo sir
as the crow flies. Itu American aerial distance ko alaga ase. So if we take that into consideration, from Chinwin River tak to Naga manu inhabited ase. That is our ancestral kingdom which are still inhabited by the Nagas. So starting from Chinwin River till Brahmaputra Valley to the extent which the Nagas are inhabiting. Ite Naga manu kiman amikan laga ancestral kingdom thakishe Naga manu kun ite thaki ase. Itu jaga tak to amikan on both side of the state, India and Myanmar. Amikan free pra bero pare. Koi kana amikan itu agreement to likhi kena ase. R.N. Ravi, interlocutor, kun amikan loko katha kori ahishe, tai to not on his personal capacity, but fully empowered by the Prime Minister of India. And it is an official agreement. Working Committee NNPGP amikan laga not on our own volition. Amikan khushi pra korana hoy. We had a wide public consultations. Itu nimite we are very confident. Indian government being the largest, Indian nation being the largest democracy in the world, and Narendra Modi being one of the most astute statesmen, we are very confident that they won't retract on what they have already committed. And we are also here to uphold what has already been committed. So I would like to repeat again, in order to put to rest the apprehension. No matter the apprehension, no matter the outcry, as and when the framework agreed position becomes implemented, all these issues will not have to arise.
Sir Alezo, during a press meet, NSCN GPRNK President, retired General Sumi Kushiki sir, FNR, Forum for Naga Reconciliation, during the political groups of ki unite kurigina through non-violence isapte jabuli laga pishi takan kam kurese itula oporde taibra jawab dishi ki church leaders kando enika political matters te involve nokorile phal koise. So what is your opinion on that?
I'm concept jani ase we had a hard time 97 de Naga manu American Baptist per convert kurisha American ke so I think American they have an obligation to tate prahi Naga majote khun philai thaga kata kati kuri thaga to we all have come across that it a younger generation after 2000 piche de janam hua khan hi na jani na thaiwa otherwise before that ki man khun philai se ama khan sop itu to witness thagise to 97 de itu time te tinta faction hi thagise IM NNC aro K ko gena to itu time te Naga intellectual aro church leaders kan ke mati se 97 de to tade bohi gena Atlanta prahi kotha kurise to am kan sob jani ase that was the beginning, you know. Of course within the Naga family yate Naga majote hi approach alag alag to kuri saise holi bi paranai to inega bahate jaise amakan idula khisa to live in witness can be thagise there, like for example Reverend VK Nisana or Dr. Wati also one of that. So many. They are no more with us. So the initiative was that Naga Monekta hobo lage differences too, and I think that's very much part of the initiative, you know, and the church prahi start kura laga. So in continuation with that, you know, 2007 prahi church kan amakan so bisas ase individual. Isor arami kan la faith bisas to isor he Naga manu suru pra, you know, Nagaland for Christ gonna start with ityabi to he uphold kura ase. SOP organization, whether it is NSCN or NNC. So SOP itu hisab te hi jaise to individually I think we are all part of that and we are committed to that. So RGB or aha kalibi to, you know, you can't just separate that, you know, the church or Nagala movement that you can separate that. So konla against bitagane. So I think we are all part of that. So it hears.
So you mean sir apuni la answer to FNR jundo ase thakile bhal ko ase na ki?
Well, thakibo lagibo kile mane itia for, you know, Isor he, I think God has inspired all of us, you know, the national workers, the leaders, you know, 2007 পৰা ষ্টাৰ্ট কৰিছে তো এইটো I think outcome the fruit is that আজিতো bloodshed নাথাকা হৈ যাইছে তো তো that's leader anyone নাথাকিবি আৰু church involve না কৰিবি গলে তো আৰু bloodshed to start কৰিবি কোৱাছ নেকি does he mean that
It's not a rebuttal to what Nikki has said, but I would like to present my own perspective. Charges are amakan mothers kan. We are always indebted to them. Immense fratricidal killings, fratricidal violence, immense thagishe. No one was willing to take risk to mediate. But it was, let's say, God's divine intervention. God inspired the church leaders. They made an unflinching effort. They sacrificed a lot. Tai kan churches kan laga intervention limite ami kan to itu bloodshed fratricidal violence to namiwo parise to and gradually we are enjoying a relative peace ko gole na if the churches were silent itebi ami kan we cannot just imagine the plight ki hoi thagule thagise na so instead of trying to exert church kan to chupchap thagiwo lage kwa lagaw no hoye na we should give all out effort to encourage the churches to continue with their peace building mission. And Naga political issue, it has not only to do with our political or history, rather we have a spiritual inspiration as well. We being a Christian state and we aspire to be a Christian nation, churches our role to divine influence, divine intervention to Jeholepi lage. And church being the representative of God on earth. And we being Christian and being a follower of Christ. Kineka hoy kana American church laga role to rule out koro paru. We are not asking the church to meddle in the political matters. But we need spiritual and moral guidance. And the church is the right institution which can provide us with that.
Sir, you are among the signatories of the agreed position, which was signed with government of India. Aro sir, apuni sign kora tamde apuni co-convener NNBG thakise. Olibi etia church ekta chuli ase ki apuni etia party alak ekta form hoise NSC and GPR. So are you still with the NNBGs? Kinika sir, develop clarify kori dibo.
If I were not in the NNPG, I wouldn't be here now. We were a signatory to the agreed position. And I'm being a part of that working committee NNPG. I continue to be there and I'll still continue to be there in the same capacity with the same effort. Eto to iku tate confusion na.
Sir, apuni logot earlier times bi American charcha korise global window. Aro sir, apuni bra life story laka apuni la drug addiction de thaka laka opore sir apuni tangor khota koina itu laka interview to beshi viral jaise. Aro sir, apuni young generation youths kange drugs te janni kina bi na janni kina bi nukusi bole laga apuni advice bi dishe. Aro itia present scenario do saili sir, young generation beshi bak drugs aro alcohol de indulge korna ase. Aro the drugs to particularly name ekta koile ami kan sunflower koi. To sir, apuni la opinion ki pabi is this an unsuccessful implementation of the NLTP Act of 1989? Itu laga ekta effect ekta nishna pabi na ki sir?
NLTP Act 2, I think it will be controversial pi ho jaise. When we try to learn from the experiences of alcohol prohibition across the world and in various states in India, it was an abject failure. Fail ho jaise to kon prapi to alcohol prohibition to success honai to. Nagaland te alcohol prohibition ko ase it is strictly available in all the nooks and corners of Nagaland. Even the rural areas, itu to alcoholic borta ho jaise. For simple instance, itu bootlegging too, it has become one of the most lucrative business in Nagaland. And even the government agencies are not spared from being the benefactors. Okay. The hypocrisy which we are living in, including with the national workers. Amikan pi alcohol puki gari dekhishe koile dori kana July dia eklan hoy kana bishi bak tu fine kuri khai loi to. No, no, itu pura price bhi high hua ase. Spurious alcohol borta hoise na. The lawmakers, especially the lawmakers, Nagaland lawmakers kan. I'm not trying to quote them anyone in particular. The lawmakers who are supposed to be the agency or the authority responsible for implementing the act, they can laga high profile party te jai sabi. That alcohol flows like a water. No. Itu pura American realistic. Again, I want to. It may be controversial. Some may not like it, but let us be brutally frank. We are living in a democratic state, not a theocratic state. So the concern of the church should be more on the spiritual and moral conduct of the members. Why not we try to leave the state to their own authority? American kite church pra state government ke itu azabonavi itu azanobonavi itu inika hoi jay tate problem hoi jay to na. Itu pra itu alcohol Prohibition Act to with good intention, bahal intention pra to kurishe. Spiritual will to thagishe, however political will thaganai. And Nagas were not matured enough to deal with the prohibition. To itu prahi itu rather than trying to continue with the same failure, fail hoye she koi kana jani ke ne pi itu fail kura laga aza implement korle khushis kure thaga tu. Itu tu jani nohobo koi ke ne pi itu kuri thaga tu itu nijor dukai ase tu na. Itu pra whether they scrap it or they try to continue to implement it, itu tu failure hoise koi na amikan jani loise. Itu pra amikan realistic view pra tu korole tu regulate korle na. Regulate korle ke na quality bi control korbi aro price bi control korbi na. Limit rakhi dibi na. Inika hoi kena amikan itu hesabte realistic pra janai kole tu we are doomed. Alcohol has destroyed so many families, especially after the prohibition. Meantime, at the same time, 1989 pra agete tu heroin kan, drugs kan tu iman jana nai. Holepi alcohol laga prohibition hoa pachete tu drugs became cheaper than alcohol. Inika hoi gana itia tu even the teenagers drugs tu pura available ho jaiche. So now it has become a choice. Drugs khawa na alcohol khawo. Itu lau kata ho jaiche to. Itu pura amikan itu alcohol tu na khawa lage. Itu tu amikan sob jane. Holepi no pare na. Itu pura the best option, that is my personal view. Regulate kru loi ke na itu hesab te hi jaishe kole bal ho na ki ko gene itu la bab na.
Which means, sir, apuni kwado Annual TP Act 1989, more than 34 years. Are practically fail huise. To apuni la opinion do, sir, itu lift kurubo lagi koise na partially lift kurubo lagi koise.
Itu amendment, re-amend kurubo lagi, inika kena regulated alcohol na, regulated under control pra hi implement kule bal ho na ki ko gene.
Sir Alezo, NNBG's kan agreed position government of India logo 2017 November 7 sign koriche. On the other side sile NSA and IM kan framework agreement 2015 3rd August sign koriche. And apuni itia working committee NNBG's tibe ase. To naka solution ekta ahibo guna government of India bra kohina ase 2018 bra. Aro 2023 election dibi koishi ki joldi hobo. Aro before that Christmas gift nishina ekta joldi pabole sob manu rukhiche 2-3 saal jai jaise. To idu government of India bra misa khwa nishina na osabi idu solution do pabole ase. Sir apuni la opinion olop koi dibo.
Working committee and NPG.
Yeah.
Agreed position to 2017. I know, 17 November 2017 he signed Kurishi. So only after that, that was a kind of a, foundation to start the negotiation. So itu prahi, we came back, our tribal hohos, our GB Federation la units, our Naga intellectual concept, so only after that we start, the negotiation. That's a process that election ho jaise. तो इतु पीछे ते ही 2018 the election which is state election.
Right.
तो आम खान अलप stop gap to थाकिसे. तो after 4-5 months पीछे they start करिसे. The working committee, our negotiation was that, before we started negotiation, IM2 that had already had that 3rd August 2015 framework agreement. So Amakan be piche de pa to after I think 4-5 years piche de he contained of the framework to paise to that paragraph it was clearly mentioned that sub to conclude hoise kono to kotha to ulaise. To Amakan takan roadmap to ki hisab ti hi conclude kurise to Amakan to janya nai ajibi janya nai till date. So that's different matter. Only be working committee NNPG to 31st October 2019 they he conclude hoise with the then former interlocutor RN Ravi aro kon hi Nagaland de governor bi kurgina hise. So I think 2019 aro 20 de aro I think सबके remind को बोले मन था तो it is on record. RN Ravi when he was the governor in 2021 de asola January na February de ase do documents to thagise so assembly de hi as a governor or as an interlocutor talk to conclude hoise de ko gina do cabinet hi approve kurigina assembly de hi declare guna se to ami kan based on that amakan working committee key roadmap thagise agreed position arrow status agreed in principle. Itu lado naga amakan legislators 60 itu lagi dia thagahan bis sab la hate thagise many of them have come back again it are present government de to takan bis sab jani ase aro amar tribal ho khan aro GB Federation aro units khan aro former legislator itu khan sab la hate dise aro naga intellectual kon ke be left out kora nai de. So as itu paribo kone to clearly status paper te hi government of India representative itu interlocutor RN Ravi lo te kotha kurise to pachote 2021 de itia to government of India representative AK Misra to ahise to itu te be same hi thakis ta de ko position to change kora nai working committee and NPG lado as itu integration hobo koise eto to amakan sab bi admit kuribo lage na para laga false hope to naga manuke to nakobodo ajiki pari ase loigena younger generation te hi aro ki foundation banabo lage to kuribo lage aro nagas of Manipur aro Arunachal to integration to na paribo itu ka karne territorial council like the arrangement kuridibo and they will be very much under Manipur aro Arunachal de naga khan bi tinta district to tari thagibo kone tu ase Amakan, whether we like it or not, reality or hosala to admit kuribo lagibo. Nagaland ke under Assam je thaga them the statehood dia time de boundary to demarcation to kuranai. To Amakan la failure bi thagise aro Assam khan to they did no windy. Jani jarigin kuranai. Aji Assam to they are claiming till foothill patkai manta claim kurasi. Amakan claim kurase no ground tak bi claim puribo bole be to na paribo to kind of both side ekta to work out koribo lagibo to itu hisab te hi high power commission sana not from Assam or not from Nagaland itu to union government hi ekta committee sana banai gena out of that agreement itu to address koribo lagibo kone to work out korigina se bole bi aje tak to agreement final inkin na hwan dihi iman delay hoise so everything is there now so majote I just want to add again ago the government of the day deadlock la ko thabi ulaise working committee to ami khan la position aro ki ase to press media dibi ulai gena thagise to amakhan 2019 31st October talk to both the negotiating party conclude hoise kone do assembly de ami koi thaga governor former governor RN Ravi Pradu on record ase to yes tala khushi pra ko na he do cabinet has already approved with that and only after that a governor read out that in the assembly to ami khan আজি তো একো হিডেন এজেন্ডা থাকা নাই তো নতুন স্টার্ট হবলে থাকা নাই তো হোয়াট হ্যাজ বিন এগ্রিড আৰু আপোনাৰ আগতে কৈ থাকা জানা election after election কিমান election কৰিব Assam la state assembly election kora time the present chief minister Himanta Biswa Dr. Himanta Biswa Sharma to media I mean local TV channel they open koisido Assam election hoa logo BJP to aro power ta hiulase guna tai to chief minister hoise naga solution to declare kori dibo guna koisido kiman election piche dehi naga solution hobo আজি তো working committee তো ডাঙৰ question ইটো বি government of India লতে বি question mark to ডাঙৰ থাকি যাইছে কিলে মানে every election কিমান election কৰি কিনা নাগালা solution দিব হিমন্ত বিশ্ব শৰ্মা Assam election কৰা time de তাই open it's already on record Assam election হোৱা লগ BJP power আহিব নাগা solution to দি দিব কোনে কৈ কিনা থাকিছে দেই আমাখান কোন বি তাখানকে we have never forced them to give that kind of a statement. Manipur election ahise tu pachote to home minister to amakan manene chief minister lote koise gune te bi kotha tu hunise. Only after that was nothing happened. Nagaland la election ahise. To idia to general election ahi bolase. So I think with full hope aro as a gentleman commitment conviction digana কি হইছে আজি তো নাপাৰা লা কথা তো থাকা নাই তো what is possible at this point of time তো government of India আজি able leadership আৰু decisive আজি কোন আমাখান সব বিশ্বাস থাকিছে তো এটো হি question mark একটা থাকিছে দে তো আমাখান কথা ইয়াতে deadlock ইকু থাকা নাই the question of deadlock does not arise here কি পাৰি আছে both side has agreed in principle তো এটো না কৰি কিনে এনেকা থাকিছে তো I think sometime the other day one of veteran aro naganim he concerned thaga a person like Reverend Vikenupra print media te bulaisi government of India leadership kan to sincere thaga nei ta sincerity bishi question ase gone huti thaga kitya ba itu bi hosa asne ki kona we as a human being effort to this day on a part working committee aro naga public in general the civil societies or NGOs or Naga intellectual council, but we all put our, effort, our time, energy, to achieve this holy media, with all the excuses. I think, we on our part, we want to put across, to the Naga people, kun to hiki ase, kun he fail kuraje to janibo lage. So I just want to comment on that.
এতিয়া স্যার Alezo পৰা কৈ দিছে হলি বি একটা কনফিউজন একটা তো ইয়াতে NSA and IM লাগা framework agreement আছে whereas NNBG's লাগা agreed position আছে তো ইয়াতে স্যার দুইটা গ্ৰুপস আই যায় আৰু একটা পৰা কৈ আছে কি কনস্টিটিউশন আৰু ফ্ল্যাগ তো থাকিব লাগে whereas আপুনি খান NNBG's খান কৈ আছে কি talks is over আৰু সাইন বি হৈ যাইছে তো এতিয়া গভৰ্ণমেণ্ট অফ ইণ্ডিয়া পৰা কোনটো পাৰ্টিকে সলিউশনটো দিবলৈ আছে পাব্লিক কি স্যাৰ অলপ ক্লিয়াৰিফাই কৰি দিব
We must be very clear, regardless of kiman faction pi thakile bi ami kan bujibo lage naga issue to ekta ase etu pra solution to ekta ho lage koi nei to ami kan laga stand to bishi clear thakise government of India pi etu to jani ase jodi naga laga issue no hoy kena kunba faction tai kan laga group laga agenda thakile to etu to alak kotha thakise tai kan government of India lago work out koro parwi no parwi that is their concern Holebi naga laga issue ase kole tu finally all the groups having official negotiation government of India logo tha kan tu solution korole time te agreement korole time te tu naga monhi monjur ase naga nimite ase kole tu iki logo sign kor lagibo judi tai kan laga alag agenda group nimite alag thaka nai kole na tu itia IM laga aro NNPG laga ko ase I am proud to flag and constitution to insist kori thakise ami kan bahal pra janibo lage ami kan 31st October 2019 khali ami kan working committee NNPG no IMP iki logo Delhi te thaki kena ami kan simultaneously talks to conclude hoise koi kena গভৰ্ণমেণ্ট অফ ইণ্ডিয়াৰ পৰা দুইটা পাৰ্টিৰ লগতে বি ডিক্লেয়াৰ কৰি যাইছে IMP এনেকুৱা হৈ কিনে টকটো কনক্লুড হৈছে কৈ তাইখান বি হেব্ৰন নাগালেণ্ড আপচ যাইছে দে এনেকুৱা হৈ কিনে আমি কাৰণটো উই ৱেৰ গেটিং মেণ্টেলি প্ৰিপেয়াৰ্ড এতিয়াতো কেনেকুৱা ইমপ্লিমেণ্ট কৰিব কৈ কিনে আমি কাৰণ এইটো পুৰা মেণ্টেলি প্ৰিপেৰেশ্যন থকা টাইমতে অল অফ এ ছাডেন আউট অফ ন' ৱে আমি কাৰণ ফ্লেগ আৰু কনষ্টিটিউশ্যন দিয়া নাই ক'লে নহ'ব কৈ কিনে তাতে হালা কৰি যাইছে তো হোৱাট ইজ দেয়াৰ জাষ্টিফিকেশ্যন এইটো তাইখানকে সুধিব লাগিব NNPG ৱৰ্কিং কমিটি লগা এইটো ফ্লেগ আৰু কনষ্টিটিউশ্যন লগা কথাটো আমি কাৰণ একো কণ্ট্ৰভাৰ্চি নাই ফ্লেগটো আগে পৰা বি চলাই থাকিছে এতিয়া বি চলাইছে আহা দিন বি চলাব আৰু কনষ্টিটিউশ্যনটো ইট ইজ এবাউট ল' তো বেচিকেলি কনষ্টিটিউশ্যন ইজ এবাউট ল' তো আমি কাৰণ ইন এ ভেৰি চিম্পল চেণ্টেঞ্চ আমি কৈ দিব আমি কাৰণ নাগা মানুহটো নিজৰ লগা কাষ্টম ট্ৰেডিশ্যন ক্ৰিমিনেল ল' চিভিল ল' চেল্ফ গভৰ্নেন্স এইটো কাৰণটো আমি কাৰণ এগ্ৰিড পজিশ্যনতে ক্লিয়াৰলি থাকিছে নাগা মানুহে নিজৰ কি হিচাপতে চেল্ফ গভৰ্ণ কৰিব লাগে আমি কাৰণ লগা আপাৰ হাউচ লৱাৰ হাউচ প্ৰপ'জ কৰি কেনে আছে এইটোৰ পৰা দুইটা আপাৰ হাউচ লৱাৰ হাউচ মিলাই কিনে আমি কাৰণ লগা তাতাৰ হ'ব এইটোৱে নাগা লগা পাৰ্লিয়ামেণ্ট বনাব আৰু নাগা পাৰ্লিয়ামেণ্ট পৰা আহি নাগা ফেডাৰেল হ'ব আমি কাৰণ এইটো নমেনক্লেচাৰ দিব কৈ কিনে এইটো নাগা ফেডাৰেল হ'ব পৰা আহি নিজৰ নাগাকে চেল্ফ ৰুল কৰিলেতো নাগা লগা তাতাৰ হ'ব পাৰ্লিয়ামেণ্ট এইটোৰ পৰা আহি ইনেক্ট কৰি কিনে আমি কাৰণ চেল্ফ ৰুল কৰিব কৈ কিনে আমি কাৰণ এইটো এগ্ৰিমেণ্টে থাকিছেতো তো when we have that legislative power that itself is a constitution because we already have the mechanism through which we can enact our own laws to rule ourselves so ultimately it becomes a constitution এইটো পৰা ফ্লেগ আৰু কনষ্টিটিউশ্যন লগাবি আমি খান ইমান মাথা হিলিবলৈ কাম থকা নাই কৈ কিনে আমি এইটো ক্লিয়াৰিফাই কৰি আছে
ইয়াতে ছাৰ এচাকে একটা সুধিবলৈ মন থকাটো এক চাল পিছি চাইছে বোলে 2023 জানুৱাৰী 4 আপুনি লগা অন পাৰ্টি NSCN GPRN কাঙো তাতে আপুনি থকা দামতে ছাৰ আপুনি কি লাইফ এটেম্প কৰিছে এণ্ড আপুনি ইম্পিচ কৰিছে এইটো লগা চাৰ্জ বেছি দেৰি চলিছে তো ছাৰ আপুনি লগা পাৰ্টি এতিয়া ফৰ্ম কৰি না চলি আছে So how strong is your party? And apuni la party do apuni koi ase etia NNPG ste ase. Holi bi sir apuni la life te attempt korina apuni ki impeach kora la oporde sir. Apuni demoralize hoishina etia apuni stronger uthina ase. Etu bi olop koi dibo sir.
Tate I want to clear the air of misunderstanding. Ami kan notun Isak laga party koi kena to form kora nai. Etia NSCN iman ulaise for identification. Press can protect di thage leadership la nam code kori gena age pra bi ami kan NNPG logo partner thagise itepi thaki ase intact it was only the change of presidency ami kan baba khango pra unilateral act kon kepi consult nokori gena age te ko nishna kora pra hi ami kan the entire setup pra taike to request korise tai laga etu খুশি পৰা কৰা লগা নিম নাথাকা লগা কৰাটো ৰিভক কৰিবি নাগা মানুহটো বাঙা বাঙি কৰি থাকিব নালাগে কৈ কিনে তাইকে টাইম দিছে হ'লে বি তাই পৰা এইটো মানা নাই এইটোৰ পৰা আমি কাৰণটো এক্সিষ্টিং ভাইচ প্ৰেচিডেণ্ট পৰা ইলিভেট কৰি কিনে তাইকে প্ৰেচিডেণ্ট বনাই লৈছে লুয়ান বা য়েমকিউং আৰু আমি কাৰণ লগা প্ৰেচিডেণ্ট বাবা খাঙতো ইম্পিচ হৈ যাইছে হ'লে বি তাই পৰা আহি নিজৰ মুখ পৰা কৈছে আমিতো NNPGতে হ'লে বি নাথাকি যাব maybe he also realized his own mistake inika kuri kena tai NNPG te bi no thaki jabo ko ami khan pra kheta pi no hoide of course ami khan laga convener pra tani kena etu mistake tu khango pra mistake ase etu pra ami khan laga ko convener ke tu ami khan tu tai ke recognition ase tai ke tu na chharbo ko kena all thanks to the wisdom of our convener and the entire NNPG tai khan pi moi loka khara kuri dise etu neshana tai nijor ke khetai dia laga thakise de Aro, I don't want to relive that nasty incident. Olebi, I mean, immediately it was a big lesson for me. It was a big breakthrough for me. I mean, our weakness pi, I mean, tatepra again najani thakakan pi, I mean, our weakness pi jani loise. Aro moi laga sathi ase koi kena trust korakan pi, usa sathi ase na itu নাম পৰা সাথী থাকিছে এটো বি দেখি লৈছে so morally spiritually politically individually আমি বি তাতে পৰা তো একটা breakthrough to পাইছে and it was a sort of rebirth আমি বি নতুন জন্ম হওয়া লাগা নিচিনা on the individual moral scale এনেকা নিজৰ কে আমি তো এটো ইনসিডেন্ট তো আলাক হৈ যা পৰা তো মই এটো তো regret কৰে whereas on my personal level it was a very rich learning experience for me aro I'm very grateful ami lao comrades kan bi kun pe ami ke chara nai nnpg bi kun pe ami kan ke chara nai even the government of India bi you continue to be the working committee la co-convener ase we will maintain the same status ineka koi gena we tried our best alak no kro ko gena ami kan la baba khangwa ke alak na pathaw ko ni man try kurse hole bi tahi nnpg to hole pi na thaki jaw ko gen tahi ja laga ase aro the question of getting demoralization la kotha tu ku thaka nai rather we became strengthened aro age pura pi ami khan aro mon di ke na kam kor ke na jase
so sir Alezo and sir Isak logot kotha korna pechi kuchi paise time dia karone but before we wind up itu moi question ekta sir Isak ke apuni logot pechi bar charcha korise aro pechi bar apuni sir positive response di na ase and then you are very young and then sir apuni bra earlier interview tibi koise ki apuni 19 years naka political struggle di involved kori na ase and that's quite a year sacrifice damor ase holibi sir itia ami kan saisi gole ekta on the other side nnbg ase ekta side ti saile nsn im aro bi side agile factions notun ola dekhi paise aro itia Nagaland recognized be hobe unrecognized be hobe faction to sale more than 24 factions so sir apuni laga mon bhitor rabe apuni ki koy because 19 years sacrifice to do chutu sal noy apuni laga youth life bi dadi jai jaise to 24 factions ase to naka political solution ekta sob manu bra peshi diri bra rukhi taka honorable solution ekta to with splits of 24 parties pabona na pabonishna aro sir apuni barbi 19 years naka political struggle di involve korina taka do apuni laga experience itu laga opor ki koi sir
beshi unfortunate ami kan itia including myself itia ekdom secret naga struggle tu itu to ami kan itu commercialize ho jaise aro opportunities kani beshi ho jaise ceasefire is not an end in itself reconciliation is not an end in itself ceasefire thaka tu reconciliation thaka tu ami kan united front dekhawo nimite mara mari kuri kena peace talk tu ko na pare political negotiation jawa na pare itu nimite ceasefire is a necessary tool reconciliation it's a very necessary but that is not an end in itself to ami kan ceasefire holeche reconciliation kurloi kena kite peace talk shuru hoi jaise to be very frank ami kan naga manu bishi short sighted ase power mongering kan bishi ase I'm not trying to undermine their sacrifices olepi post ceasefire te faction iman ula khan ite iman leader faction la leader ko gena claim kora ase iman tax uthai ase to in return ami naga nimite ki kora ase ami laga objective naga nimite ami sacrifice kora nishna naga manu bi sob effect ho ase iman taxation uthai ase iman contribution dia ase to itu laga in return to ami kan naga nimite ki anibo koi gena ki kotha kore ase na aro iman political leader koi gena nijor self assertion kori gena public pra credit dia no hoy gena naga manu pra credibility dia no hoy gena nijor pra hi I mean naga nimite kam korase go gena nijor pra hi self acclamation self assertion bishi korase bahal pra saisho koile to কোন পি এক রাতি বি জঙ্গল তে পি নগুশি গনা থাকা মানো এটু খানি বেশি লিডার কই গনা পোস্ট সিসফারতে তো এটু খানি বেশি হালা করাছে তো ওলে পি আমি কান বিকজ অফ দ্য ডিলে ইন সলিউশন ইনিকা ডিলে হই থাকা তো ইনিকা ডিভিজন তো আহি থাকি বলে আছে But this division, it has become so taxing on the Naga people. And it has led to support be ebbing. Public support be ebbing. National workers can laga morality be bishi erode. Inika hoy gana be kun usa se koi gana jani ke na right track te jase. Itu kani patience thakibo lage, mon naharabo lage. Aro Naga issue is too sensitive to be left alone to the Naga political groups. Itu to mass movement ho jabo lage, mass participation thakibo lage. Nijor pra ami thik ase alag to sob thik nai. Itu kobole kam thaka nai, let the people judge. Inika kurigana itia iman faction from kurase itu kam to taxation or extortion hi priority kurigana itu hi Nijor group from kurase to. Nole to ami Naga nimite itu objective thaki kena itu goals thaki kena Naga nimite itu kam kurase koi kena ekbar pi Naga age te pi present kuri sa nai. Aro itu solution annually to Nijor ekla pra nanibo to we have to have a political dialogue with the occupying authority. To government of India pra to tai khan lokopi negotiation kurase na nai. Nijor pra kurule mon thakile pi government of India pra tai khan ke negotiation nokurle to kinika solution anibo na. Itu pra this stalemate, itu limbo, in the state of limbo. It should not continue indefinitely. Judi usa pra pi Naga nimite kam kurase koile itia tak ekta janibo lage Indian government pra to apni khan mangi thaka to dibo na parbo solution na dibo itu to kwa nai. And that is where we are pinning our hope. Ageta ami kan coordinator pra ko nishina gentleman agreement ase with authorization from the highest office, the Prime Minister of India's office. It is an official agreement. Tukun itia alag iman political groups negotiation te nahi kena thakile pi tai kan usa prapi Naga nimite concern ase koile as and when the solution comes. Tai kan pi tate agree ho lagibo. And we have to convey, and we are conveying to the government of India, itu factional problem to it is within the Naga family. They should not take it as a pretext to delay the solution. Kiman faction thakile pi political issue to ekta ase to na. To how many factions will negotiate with the government of India over the same issue? And it is already concluded. To same issue pra kiman alag party pra to negotiation kuri thakibo na. And if there are any political parties who cannot agree with the proposed agreement which is in place, either they abrogate the ceasefire and go back to the jungle and fight. If not, let them also spell out their agenda. NNPG noila IM pra itu chapter cover corona itu Naga laga itu agenda itu kan cover corona itu pra ami kan tai kan pra left out kora ami kan ni pursue kora se koi gana itu announce kori sabi na. Or itu kamte jai sabina. At the same time, tai khan inika kuri thakle bi the government of India will entertain or not. Naga people will support them or not. Itu bi kotha thakishe to. Itu pura self-created groups, not basing on the ideological or political conviction, but simply to extort, simply to run extortion industry, simply to tax the Naga people. It has become one of the most demoralizing factor. Our adversary, whoever it may be the Myanmar government or the Indian government, being such a mighty nation, just to keep on continuing talking without solution, they can continue even for 100 years, as long as we are not a threat to the Indian national security. However, the government of India must also, and the Myanmar government also, must not view the Naga issue only on the national security perspective, but as a genuine humanity issue, as a genuine people with their own statehood from ancestral times. Itutai can be being one of the largest democratic nation aspiring for a global leadership. Tai can be itu Nagalaga rights to Nagala history to Nagala future to Tai can be genuine concern taiko lageto. Not only from their national security perspective. At the same time, moi ko ase amikan love you to ase NNPG la. How long shall we be patient Olipi Kwanishna, the issue doesn't belong to the working committee NNPG alone or the IM or any other political groups. It is a people's issue. Whatever steps to be taken, whatever steps that has been taken, it is all in consultation with the people. So what the future lies ahead of us, let us be optimistic and let us try to reassure ourselves that the government of India would not betray us. The past mistakes that has been committed, itu meant korole laga, and not to rub salt in the wound again. Inika amikan laga itetak we're being patient, but how long will the impasse continue? Because it cannot continue indefinitely. A time may come where there will be a breaking point. Make it or break it. Itu laga time pi ahibo pare. And let us remain positive.
So thank you so much, sir. Apuni dijon la kimti time dia garne pishi khushi paise. So viewers kan, that was Sir Alezo Venuh aro Colonel retired Isak Sumi. Ato kelon sir NSCN GPR. Aro taijon laga charcha opore apani kan dikhi paise huni paise FMR laga opore jindu itia dangor charcha loi ase tate taijon bra jawab di ase ki Myanmar Pithor dibi 35 kilometers tak naka inhabited areas starting from Chinwin River to Brahmaputra Valley. Aro jindu tate fencing kurubuli laga itia charcha ase itu tu nohobo laki ko ase ki hole itu agreed position laga opor debi itu in principle itu sign kurna likhina ase ko ase. To tati to iman confusion no hobo lage aro government of India bra tati betray nokrubo kuna takan hope ko ase. Aro itu ikla no ina FNR laga opor de Isak Sumi bra jawab dishi ki itu takan laga involvement taka bra naka political struggle de motivate kuri ase intervene kura bra aro takan laga prayer support bra itiarak jabo pare ase. Aro FNR laga contribution dangor ase naka political struggle de kuna tai kushi. Aro jundu NLTP laga issue dangor ekta chuli ase. Since 1989 implement kurina 34 years ayase. Itu practically fail hui jesh. Aro yedi sir Isak Sumi bra jawab dishi ki parishi gule churches kan spiritual dihi mun dile phal. Government laga regulation do government ki chhare dile bishi phal kuna tai bra jawab dia bi apni kan huni paish. Aro most importantly jindu agreed position 2017 de NNBG's logot sign kurna ase government of India. Yedi sir Alezo Venuh kushe ki already conclude hui jaise final ink kurubole pachina ase. Government of India bra betray no kuribo kuna takan rokhi ase kushe. Aro on the other side saishugule NSCN IM kan framework agreement 2015 3rd March de sign kurina ase. So yedi party duita ase aro negotiating party duita government ekta logot talks conclude hoise. The government of India bra kun laga party ki hi dibo solution do. Duijon ki dibo na ekta ki dibo. Itu dangor ekta charcha ase. Ami kan yedi sir Isak Sumi ki hutauti kuran de tai bra jawab di ase ki naka political struggle di saishe gule. Sob manu moon digina focus kurigina nakai gina jungle de khumai gina fight kura manu bi bishi ase. Holi ajikali saishe gule sob politicize hui gina. Party nutun faction nutun olai ase. Holi bi sob laka motive to ekta ase solution. Itu ba parishi gule politicize nokurina sob miligina call ekta jundu naka early solution ase tati fight kurile phal ase ko abi apni huni paishi. Aro January 4th 2023 de tai laga life attempt gra opor tai bra jawab dishi ki itu laga opor do stretch nokuribo holibi itu incident bra tai jundu sati ase aro kun sati nohe itu kan bi janishe aro ta khan laga president kang obra he unconstitutional kam gra bra ta khan itu oppose kurishe aro itu rectify kuribi kushile president bra he NNBG's charigina jai jabra vice president bra take up kurigina loi jahai ase noile party nutun form kura noi kushe aro Isak Sumi bra jawab dishi ki tai puila bi NNBG ste thakise itia bi thaki ase aro aha din dibi thakibo kuna jawab dia bi huni paise amegan akha rakhibo gi government of India bra NSCN IM hobi NNBG's kan hobi itu laga opor de jindu sign kuribole ekta pachigina ase Itu kiniga dibule ase itu sob manu laga charcha ase ami kan akha koribo government of India bra naga khan ke betray no koribo holibi sob manu ba rukhi thaka nishina early naka solution joldi pabo itia garni mane mo ase sangamayer